go.
Big Al, Big Five.
To the best pre-game football show.
Really? This guy?
You put the hut in your what? Epic intro, blow the budget. Hall of Famers, Super Bowl rings.
Some people call me a
Football king, are you ready to get ready? To get ready to be ready. Y'all ready?
this week's
Football show. Whoa.
time for the Lockdown Gambling Show. Welcome in. That was the worldwide premiere of our new intro video as we rebrand and try and grow this thing. So hopefully that wasn't too painful for you guys at home. But thank you for tuning in. Lots of stuff to get into. It is wild card weekend. We are finally at the playoffs. Look, this season felt like it has been forever. And last week, let me just say, I got slaughtered in this kind of gambling, just online talking about it, and in real life. So I brought back the expert because he went 3-2 last week, and he just kicked my ass last week. So he's back. JB, Jody Bro, back in.
Woo! That's a hell of an intro.
You were shit talking me.
What's that?
You were shit talking me last week. I was getting text, hey, who'd you have again? Oh, you picked Atlanta? Well, that was dumb by you. I mean, it was bad. I really thought Atlanta would hang with. The Jets really should have covered, but it was garbage time. The Chargers, that game was nuts. So, of course, the Raiders win. So, but we're back, and we got a lot of stuff to get into, so we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. First game of the day. The Raiders, the aforementioned Raiders, are in Cincinnati, 4.5-point dogs. This one, to me, for the Raiders, if they want any shot, because I think Cincinnati wins this game outright, but that 4.5 makes me a little nervous because I think if Vegas can get to Burrow with 4, because Burrow's been amazing against the blitz, his numbers are just incredible. If the Raiders can get there with 4, that's going to change this game. But the problem is Cincinnati's got weapons for days. Mixon, Higgins, Chase, Boyd. They got so many weapons, it's crazy.
I agree. I think Cincy will cover that. I think that's 4 now.
That the little half, that little hook is the only thing that scares me. If it was 4, yeah, for sure. Because I could see this game, best case scenario, being 28-24. But I mean,
they're going to win by a touchdown or more.
I mean, that's the thing.
I'll say 9. They're going to win by 9.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to take Cincinnati just for the show's purpose. If I'm at home, and I will gamble on this later, but that little hook is the only thing that scares me a little bit.
Burrow's playing too good right now. I mean, their offense it's going. I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't even hear about Mixon anymore. If you really, let's be honest, you don't hear about Mixon. It's Burrow. Burrow is throwing the ball. I mean, I just think, yeah, they're going to win by a touchdown plus.
Well, and this is the other thing, too. So Cincinnati hasn't won a playoff game since 1991. So for you kids at home, the first ever text message was sent in 1992. So they have not won since text messaging was invented. That was my stat of the day that I discovered while doing research this morning. But the other thing is, too, Burrow is a different kind of quarterback. Cincinnati's never really had this type of quarterback. I guess Boomer Esiason, but that's before my time. In my lifetime, Carson Palmer was their best quarterback. I mean, I guess Andy Dalton, if you want to throw into that mix. But Burrow's just a winner. We saw it in college. We've seen it so far in the pros. He's just a different kind of cat, no pun intended.
He's young. He's young, and he's willing to go that extra. You know what I mean? Carson Palmer was young. He was good, and then he kind of them young quarterbacks got all that fire. They're willing to go, and then he hurt him. He got hurt last year, so he didn't really get to prove himself the whole year, right? So now this is like, hey, I'm going to show you what I can do. I think he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback.
Yeah, he's been lights out.
If Cincinnati keeps giving him, what Brady gets where he goes, what Rodgers keep him with receivers, keep him a good offensive line, give him a running game, I think he's gonna do well.
He's got that likable swagger and arrogance to him. It's not like it's not so much like I don't even know how to describe it because arrogance might be the wrong word. He's just got this likable self-confidence about himself where he'll throw his junk on the table and be like, here it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like he needs a wheelbarrow to carry his castañas because he's just a gamer. He's in big moments, he always has shown up.
He uses his head with his talent, not just, some of them quarterbacks that do great in college, they come out, I'm just going to win by talent. Deshaun Watson is a perfect example. The guy's got great talent, but he tries to win it. You know what I mean?
It's hard to describe, but yes, I understand. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's like he's using both.
Yeah.
Instead of just using the talent to win, he's using his all right, hey, I got to check down twice to get this guy and just boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Yeah. And I'm, again, right there with you. So we're both taking Cincinnati for this one. Before we go to our next game, we got a comment. We didn't talk about the national championship game, but you also beat me there. So if there was a tiebreaker, you had Georgia. So, I had Bama. I thought, and I didn't realize in real life, I put $5 on the Alabama money line. So I really, at the time I placed that, thought Bama was going to win. And I mean, what can I say? Georgia locked them up like they were supposed to in the SEC championship game, and that was that.
Well, I think it was the start of the second half. Georgia went down to score. I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I picked Georgia because I don't like Bama.
Yeah.
And then Bama gets the ball, go right back. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. Bama's going to turn around now. And
yep.
I only watched like the first part of the first half and then like bits and pieces of the third quarter and then the rest of the game, the fourth quarter. But I didn't watch the first half.
I was watching it on and off, kind of in the background, but I was still semi-watching it, and it was kind of the same deal. Like, it was just like, oh, okay, here comes Bama. Then all of a sudden they lost Williams, their receiver, and it just started
which hurt them. But it's like, I have an issue every time they say, oh, we would have done different with Williams, and you don't know that.
No.
If you don't have a backup, even half-assed, that can do something, then you're not a championship team.
Yeah. And let's be
backups. I mean, you can look at the Packers line. It's the same thing. Those guys went in there and did their job.
Yep.
You got to have backups. I just hate it when they say, and Bama didn't do it. They didn't do that, but
yeah. No, and even Saban actually after the game to Kirby Smart said, oh, you guys kicked our ass in the second half. That was his direct quote. So they know. And look, let's be real. Bama's stacked anyway. So their replacement is probably better than half the other
right.
And half of the country's number ones.
Yep. You got to be ready to go. And the guy had a big year. And if you got a good quarterback you can put any receiver, because I think quarterbacks make your wide receivers better than, which has been proven in many cases.
Yeah. I mean, not that we have to get into that because we do have 5 more games to talk about.
Right. Right. Just one player that we can do that, Greg Jennings. That's all I'll say.
I was going to do a modern day example and say, are we sure Alan Lazard would be that good without Aaron Rodgers? But
another perfect example, I think. Would he? I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe, but we obviously don't know. But they're not playing this week, so let's talk about a team that is. So New England, on the road, they're going back to Buffalo where that weird game happened where Mac Jones only threw 3 times and the Patriots won. It was that weird cold game. Well, since then, Patriots have tailed off a little bit. Mac Jones has tailed off a little bit. And he's also come out and directly stated he doesn't like the cold. Well, I did a little research. The temperature in Buffalo, the high for today, this afternoon, and this is going to be a nighttime game, so it's going to be single digits, but the high today is 12. That's not factoring wind chill. It's going to be cold.
Oh, it's going to be cold. Yes, it is.
So New England's going to have to rely on the run. You can run against Buffalo, but I think the thing that has me leaning towards Buffalo is that in that last game when they went to New England, they kind of figured out, oh, hey, Josh Allen's our best weapon. If we give him the ball every play, he'll figure it out. And he did in that New England game in New England. Now you're at home. You have the weather on your side. You have that insane crowd that they have. Bills Mafia, shout out to them. The only thing that scares me, and I am taking the Bills, but Belichick, 3rd time against the same opponent. I don't have numbers on that, but just that sentence scares me. I'm going to take Buffalo because rookie quarterback in the cold who claims he doesn't like the cold on the road. I don't like that. I'll take Buffalo. But Belichick, third time against the same team, maybe.
But you got to look at the teams Belichick had in the past to put that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't go with that because this is a whole different team. When you have Tom Brady as your quarterback and you have everything geared around him, you're going to do different things against the team when you're just going to do a different. You're going to do different. You're going to act different on the third time you're playing someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's got a different team right now. It's not the same team he's had. And you can see that. I just don't think it's the same. I'm taking Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I know Quentin went in there and said blah blah blah. Too many. You know what? This is playoff football. Home field advantage, is there a plus? Yes.
Yeah.
But does it really come down? No. This is playoff. People, guys are going 100%, 110% out. And I hate the cold weather. Not to interrupt you, that whole cold weather thing. When you're in that heat of the moment, you played sports. When you're in the heat of the moment, it could be pouring rain. I mean, softball, it could be pouring rain. That don't bother you. Do it. You do what you got to do.
Well, yes, but also I don't know if you saw the last game New England played in the cold. Mac Jones basically wore a scuba suit under his uniform, so that's the only reason. It definitely affects him. There's something there. If you're wearing a GD scuba suit to play quarterback, like
Bobby Baez when he was a Cub would wear that scuba gear.
Yeah, and he sucked in the cold.
And it's 50 degrees. I know, but he was still out there. He still did, you know what I mean? But I understand.
Yeah. No, and as commenter Dustin points out, it's Bills Mafia is going to be nuts. It's going to be so loud in there tonight. Those maniacs out there.
Yep.
Absolutely. And
I
for
agree
all
with
of
them.
Yeah.
The Mafia is going to outdo the New England fans. I see a fight. There'll be a Facebook thing about fans fighting in this one.
Yeah. In fact, a fun over-under prop bet. How many tables do you think are broken in pregame? Because I'm going to put the number at 5. Or, 4.5. I think about 5 will be broken.
Which locker room?
Well, I'm talking about the fans. I'm not even talking about the locker room. I'm talking about those maniacs that jump through tables pregame. If I put the over-under at 4.5 tables broken, I'm taking the over.
Me too. I'm with you.
So
it's a whole different breed out there.
No, is it ever? Speaking of different breeds, Tom Brady back in the playoffs. This time is an 8.5-point favorite against Philly. They are at home. Tampa plays relatively better at home than they do on the road. However, Philly's coming in pretty
hot.
They're coming in, but here's the deal.
Good.
They are, but they play. Their last game was against Dallas, which they sat a bunch of guys, so it's kind of hard to judge that team. They played Washington twice. Okay, they played the Giants. They haven't played a lot of tough competition, but here's the thing that scares me. Their bread and butter is running the football. Well, Tampa's run defense is the backbone of that whole team. So it's going to come down to whether Philly can run the ball. And their running backs for Philadelphia are averaging 3.5 yards before contact. So they are getting almost 4 yards before they're even touched. So if they can keep that up with that offensive line play, cool. They're in good shape. They can keep this game close. And plus, look, and I'm not here to disparage Tom Brady. He's one of the best we've ever seen. As much as I can't stand him winning every year, he's one of the best we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, he is. Definitely.
But it's at this point, he's 44 years old. We have seen he needs a ton of weapons to keep up that high level of play.
More so now than he was in New England. He needs more now.
Yeah, and that's not to disparage him. You're 44 years old. At some point, you have to age.
He's had 3 games in a row where he laid a big freaking rotten egg.
Yes. And so for that reason, look, I don't love this pick because I do think Tampa wins. But 8.5 is a big number for a team that has struggled recently and for a team that's –
Go ahead.
No, you were going to say what I was going to say. Jalen Hurts has been pretty good. We didn't really know what to expect. He's been solid.
His confidence, you could see it. The last month, his confidence went right. When he started getting shit from the Philly fans, is he going to be the quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't know if he just turned that baby on, but something.
No, I'm right there with you. And for all those reasons, I'm going to take Philly, not to win, but to cover, because I think they can keep this game within 8 points.
Oh, fuck.
Well, that's the thing. It's play. This is a whole different
it's
animal.
A lot of points, and I think Tampa Bay will win. It's boy, oh boy, you could see Tampa winning by 21 points, but you could see them winning by a field goal, easy.
Yeah. I'm taking Philly. I don't love it because you can talk.
Quentin just put up a good thing. Fournette at 100%, so your running game's going to drop some. Jones is out. I know that after I picked him on my playoff draft, but I'm going to take Philly. I think Philly. I agree, Al, for everything we just said. I like Philly. I can't give them the 8.5.
That's a big number for a team that's been struggling. They should have lost to the Jets.
Yep.
And I know that's just a regular season, and Tom Brady in the playoffs is a different animal. I understand all of that. But a team that's banged up and struggling.
But you have to go by what you see, what they're going into the playoffs. Philly's going in with a little bit of push behind them, and Tampa's got a little drag.
100% agree. So we're both so far we've been
Brady can turn it on in a heartbeat, and we both get our ass kicked by this, but we might agree on every fucking game this week. Oops.
Well, that's okay. I mean, if you're watching at home, yes, we curse on this show. It's all good. It's fine. Earmuffs, kids. Well, we were talking pregame. I don't think we're going to agree on this one. San Francisco, 3-point dogs at Dallas. Cowboys.
Dallas will win by more than 3.
Well, okay. Here's where I'm at. And I'm probably going to later today. We're doing a live stream for the Lockdown Corner podcast, our mothership network of the network. San Francisco scares me because here's the deal. I think they win this game. I think they win this game outright, and I don't think. I mean, Debo's going to have a huge game because I don't think Trayvon. I know what the Pro Football Focus people tell me. Trayvon Diggs is this all-worldly corner. I don't see it. I think he's a ball hawk that doesn't really do well in coverage. Plus, they're going to move Debo all over the field. He's going to break at least one. I'm calling that shot right now. I think San Francisco dominates this game.
Dallas defense will score a touchdown today.
I think that this game might be tomorrow. Not that it matters. I'm just trying to – I believe this game is tomorrow at 3. But anyway.
I could lean towards San Fran if it was in San Fran, but this is in Dallas.
I think it's going to be a fast track because this is indoors, so they're going to run the ball.
Yeah,
look,
I think Dallas will cover.
This is the only thing. San Francisco secondary sucks. They're really bad. Their number one corner, as we talked about last week, is Josh, who's been washed for a couple of years now. Not great.
Yep.
So you can attack, and Lord Dallas has the weapons to do it. But here's the deal. Here's what I don't like for Dallas. Mike McCarthy. I'm wearing the Packers sweatshirt. I had the Mike McCarthy experience. When it comes to the playoffs, it's pretty rough. He doesn't want to.
Did McCarthy win a Super Bowl? I'm not sure.
He had an all-world. He had Aaron Rodgers in his prime, and he had like 6 weapons that were healthy. He had more that were injured that year.
This goes beyond the freaking. I think this goes beyond the coach. I'm telling you. I agree. I know I agree with you, but no.
I'm totally with Quentin, 1,000%. I mean, Mike McCarthy, I don't trust. Okay, here's what I'll say. I don't trust this version of Mike McCarthy.
Okay, and toward the end of the Packers, I mean, he was good at the Packers. He kind of got forced out, but yeah, he does some stupid ass shit. But
and here's the other deal. I love how every week he has a press conference. Oh, we need to run the ball more, buddy. Who's the one calling plays? If you want to run the ball, run the GD ball. Who are you blaming? I don't like that part of it. And really, Dak has not looked quite the same since he tweaked his calf a couple of weeks ago. So
Garoppolo makes me nervous because the guy that's a hit. That quarterback Garoppolo has no even keel quarterback. He's either on or he's off. He can look like a superstar, and the next week he can look like a. Jeez.
Well, and I'm weird.
That's why out of that whole San Francisco team, it's Deebo Samuel is a phenomenal player, but Garoppolo, I don't trust the guy.
And that's totally fair. But I will say last week he needed to win. He did, and he looked pretty darn good. And he was one throw away from potentially winning a Super Bowl against Mahomes. We know it's in there, but I'm with you. And actually that Super Bowl run, they beat Green Bay. All they did was hand the ball off. I think he threw 5 times. So I get it. Yeah, but my gut, everything, every fiber of my being is terrified of San Francisco. I think they win this game, and I think they're coming up here. And let me tell you, I am terrified. Because if I'm Green Bay, the one team I don't want to see.
San Francisco scares me just because of Deebo Samuel. I'm not gonna. That guy's a freaking stud. You know what happened? Cordell Patterson started all this wide receiver / running back type player. He started it all.
Are we sure, or was it Ty Montgomery?
Well, you look at Ty Montgomery, you put him next to Deebo Samuel and Patterson. Montgomery looks like a freaking hobbit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Samuel and Patterson are built. I mean, they look more like linebackers than they're huge.
Yeah.
They're big.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know. And not Ty Montgomery. No, he's not even in the same category.
All right. So you have Dallas. I have San Francisco. That one. Next game, I don't think we need to talk much about this game. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. You know what, folks? I did a bunch of research, which we might get to, but I'm just going to one quote. Ben Roethlisberger this week had a press conference, and I kid you not, this is exactly what he said. Quote, I would assume as a group you understand that we probably aren't supposed to be here. We probably are not a very good football team. Out of 14 teams, I think I don't know. That doesn't make sense. He must have not spoke that right. Out of 14 teams, I think are in, we are probably 14. So if your leader, the corpse that is Ben Roethlisberger, is already counting your whole team out, that's a problem. A big one. That's a huge red flag. I'm surprised that this number's not more after that. But because it can't just be off that, I do have a little bit of statistics. Kansas City, 4th best in points per game, so their offense is cruising. Defense for Pittsburgh obviously can match up with them. They can get pressure on Mahomes. We all know this. But Pittsburgh's offense isn't going to be able to keep up. They rank 31st, and Kansas City has figured out how to play defense over the last couple weeks. Really, since they played Jordan Love, they kind of figured it out. But give me Kansas City.
Holy crap.
Oh we may have a death on air, our first on-air death.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be KC by 40, but Quentin looks, he's a pharmacist. They don't think right anyway.
Drugs.
I love him. He's my son-in-law, but you know how that goes. He's just not right sometimes.
Are you alleging he's a
I'll give him 17 points. They'll win by 17. KC will cover this easy.
I think so too. If your quarterback's already got 1 foot out the door, okay, this is crazy conspiracy. Are we sure Big Ben didn't want to tie in that Sunday night game? I think maybe he checked out. He's like, oh, God, now I got to go play again. Like, I thought I was done.
And I'm going to go back to what we talked to before we went on air, that his competitive streak is someone don't do it on purpose. But if they would have ended up tying, he would have had a big sigh of relief, like, oh, I'm done.
Oh,
I just don't think any athlete wants to tie on purpose or lose. They want to win.
But Big Ben wanted to tie.
Big Ben
wanted to tie. Let's be honest.
I think he did and he didn't. He could have went both ways.
Well, either way, he's in and probably marching to the end of his football career. Last game on the docket, our first ever playoff Monday Night Football game. Arizona at the Rams. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites at home. Look, J.J. Watt's back for Arizona. Okay. Stafford hasn't been quite the same. He injured his back when they played the Packers. He looked a little hobbled, and ever since then it's been a real slow decline. I think he's thrown a pick 6 in like 4 out of his last 5 games or something ridiculous. But here's the deal. Cliff Kingsbury teams perform poorly in the second half of their seasons. In fact, I have the numbers right here. 2021 started 7-0. The rest of the year he went 3-8. Or I'm sorry, 3-6. 2020 started 5-2. Finished the year 3-6. 2019 with the Cardinals started 3-3-1. Not great, but okay. Finished the year 2-7. His last 9. They don't perform well. They lost last week against Seattle. They lost the week before. This team has been awful. Just awful. I have no confidence in Arizona. I don't really have confidence in the Rams, but at least their defense is more stacked to make plays. Give me the Rams all day.
Yeah, I agree. Arizona's got to break out of this funk they've been in. I mean, they're a different team. Like you said, they're a different team the second half of the season. They're a totally different team.
They missed DeAndre Hopkins so much. It's insane.
Oh.
I never thought a receiver would have that much value to one organization.
Well, he opens up the secondary. They have nobody else. They have Kirk, who's kind of
he's fine.
He's like an Adam. He's not the go-to guy, but gets the pass when he needs one. And then who the hell?
They have one of the Moores, Rondale Moore. They got Zach Ertz. They can run the ball with Connor and Edmonds. If healthy, but they're both pretty banged up.
Hopkins. Who's the other good receiver? You had Hopkins on one end, and
the corpse of AJ Green is wandering around out there.
You got AJ Green is probably their best receiver on every down play, and you know what I mean. If you look at their receivers, AJ Green's is the best. You have no one to offset where if you put Hopkins on the field, that opens up. And I agree with you. I think it hurt Arizona bad.
Yeah,
they don't have. They're relying on the running game now, and Murray don't run the ball like he did at the beginning of the season, and I think that hurts him too.
Yep.
When Murray was running 60 yards a game, you had to keep one. You had to keep an extra linebacker or play. Put an extra guy in the box just to mirror. They don't even do that now. They're putting the extra back out and covering the average receivers.
Ever since he rolled his ankle in that Green Bay game on Thursday night, he just refuses to run. And that's truthfully that at this point is their greatest weapon, much like the Bills and Josh Allen. Just let Kyler Murray do his thing. And he, for whatever reason, doesn't want to run.
I mean, it opens up the running game. It opens up their passing game. But now you took one out. Now the passing game is gone. They don't have the receivers. And, that's where the Packers, teams like that, they got another receiver. They got, you know what I mean? Because the Arizona's running game, they got 2 good running backs, but they don't have that passing game. They don't have the weapons on the receiver.
For me, this game comes to who do I trust more, Cliff Kingsbury or Matt Stafford? That's really what this boiled down to. And I don't trust either of them, but I guess I trust Stafford more.
Right. It's funny you bring up Stafford because I was just going to say I don't trust Stafford in the playoffs.
No, no, not at all. If he wins this game, so the way that this works out is Green Bay gets the lowest seed. So if the Rams end up winning and the Cowboys end up winning, then most likely we get the Rams next week. Please, I don't want to see San Francisco. I will gladly take a banged up Stafford in cold Lambeau. Absolutely, sign me up for that every single day.
I'm with you. I like the Rams just because they're more consistently playing.
Yep.
I mean,
I do not trust Kingsbury. The Cardinals are playing.
Cooper Kupp.
We didn't even mention. He's the best player on the field in this entire game, and we didn't even mention him once. I think that just shows how much of a weird game this is going to be, and it's Monday night, which throws in another weird factor. But yeah,
I know you could see Arizona pulling in the upset.
Yep.
It can happen.
1,000%. I just don't believe it to happen.
And it goes back to I think Murray can change the whole outlook of a game. Murray changed the whole outlook of a game, but he hasn't done that for the second half of the season. Actually, since the Packer game, he has not played his game that he has been playing. So I don't see him unless something big changes. I think the Rams will win this one.
Yep, I'm right there with you, and I don't see any way. The secondary for Arizona too. Well, in Arizona in the Seattle game, Seattle had nothing to play for. They were basically just playing spoiler. At one point, they were down by like 2 or 3 touchdowns. They came back. They lost by 8, but they've been they've been sleepwalking through the second half of the year, and that's not a good thing when you need to. It's playoff time. You got to shut up, and I think they're going to shut up this week. I think they're on. But that's going to do it. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. So we basically were in lockstep on everyone except for the San Francisco-Dallas game. You have Dallas, I have San Francisco, and I feel pretty darn good about that. But I am terrified of San Francisco, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, Lockdown Corner Podcast, the mothership, our flagship program, will be live streaming in almost 2 hours from now at 11:45. Make sure you tune in for that. Dustin and I are going to get into some stuff. We also have a special guest. First time we've done any crosstalk with anybody, so that is exciting for us. Make sure to subscribe. Apple, Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button for us. And, yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll see if you're back. I mean, really, if Dallas wins, you're back because we matched on every single one. And I'm planning something for the Super Bowl, which I will talk to you probably off air about. I'm thinking maybe for the Super Bowl, anyone that's been on the show, like a roundtable discussion, we'll go over bets and stuff. So if you're up for that,
I am.
Yeah. So then I'd have to get Dustin, my dad, and Sean Filipiak. If you're watching this, that's what I'm planning. If you've been on this show as a guest, we're coming back roundtable style. But we got a couple weeks before that. Anyway, thank you for watching. We will see you next week for divisional round fun. Until then.